So the same man who is talking about all this nonsense, glamoring speeches are the people Bennett who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. You bring back Leah Sharifu because we are the one who kidnapped them. You know it. Look at it. It's a Global Terrorism Watch. Says herdsmen killed more Nigerians in 2018 than Boko Haram. This African China Press Center, November 21, 2019. Said the Global Terrorism Index, GTI 2019, has revealed a bombshell on the Nigerian security situation, noting that herdsmen attack cost the country more lives than Boko Haram in 2018. Can you imagine? You see? This one said Boko Haram crisis led to 20,000 deaths in 9 years. That is who? This is Punch of May 17, 2019. And what is the difference between Boko Haram and herdsmen? What is the difference? They are the same. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai, on Thursday, the 26th of May 2016, in Abeokuta, the capital of Ogun State, when he paid a courtesy visit to the governor of the state, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, openly told the world that some of the killer herdsmen who had wreaked havoc in Benue, Enugu, and the Ekiti State, among others, may have affiliation with the Boko Haram insurgents, and went further to state that this probability was already being investigated as the group continued their onslaught on the so-called insurgents on the northeast. That is the Chief of Army Staff telling you that Boko Haram and the herdsmen are what? The same. The same. And then they will now come and give you the impression that, you know, Boko Haram is killing both Christians and Muslims. That is a lie. When they were saying that Boko Haram Christian soldiers are killed and buried in the night, they say it's a lie. It says Senate suspend plenary in plenary honor of 44 soldiers killed by Boko Haram. This is Sahara Reporters of November 22, 2018. The Nigerian Senate has adjourned its plenary in honor of the 44 soldiers who lost their lives in a recent attack by Boko Haram terrorists. The decision to suspend the plenary session was taken after the Thursday proceeding, which lasted for around 2 hours. The motion to suspend the plenary was moved by Senate President Bokala Saraki and seconded by the minority leader. The plenary was adjourned till Tuesday, November 27, 2018. Give us the names of these officers. They will not. That means we will not release them because they are Christian soldiers. Look at it, 28. And yet, the Chief of Army Staff, look at the service chiefs are not changed. They are there because they are doing the mind of the so-called commander-in-chief, whom they have vowed that they will remain obedient to. Look at it. Military members set up vigilante groups, checking points in Ondo. This is Punch of July 22, 2019. Go and look at John Kerry's decode and see what is happening in Andaman's land. It says some armed members of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria have set up a vigilante group in Ondo State, mounting checking points along the highway. The General Secretary of Forward Buhari, Dr. Kayode Ajilo, said this during an interview on channel television Sunrise Daily in Abuja on Monday. Amilo said he was traveling to Ondo State with armed policemen on Sunday when he sighted the armed herdsmen with their cattle. The former National Secretary of the Labour Party said when he accosted the herdsmen, they claimed they were doing it with the permission of the Nigerian police force. The watch should listen. He said, and I'm quoting him, "I was in my state yesterday when I saw Fulani herdsmen under the auspices of Miyetti Allah tag themselves as the vigilante group of Ondo State in this country, in the southwest. They were all over. And nobody stopping them. I was with some armed security men, and so we stopped them. We were even trying to call the DPO and the police to ask if they were aware of their presence. When asked to explain this better, Ajilo repeated, I was in Ondo State around 4 p.m. yesterday, and we saw Fulani herdsmen with cattle, guns, and cutlasses, and they showed me their ID card that they are vigilante, and they are the ones securing the highway. I took pictures of the ID cards and I questioned them, and they said the police were aware of what they were doing. That is the same ID card They are forcing us forcing Biafrans to go and take so that they will identify you and eliminate you. That is the purpose of the ID card in the Southeast. I told you the Northern Elders Forum, when Maitama Masule was alive, they told Buhari that he should separate members of IPOB from the rest of the society and finish them. Which means, what does it mean? Separate the old people from the young ones and destroy all the young boys in Igbo, in Biafra land. That is their target. Have you seen it? All the way from the north. Look at what they are doing in Yoruba land. They are talking of ID card given by the police. The police are aware of what they are doing. This is of international consequences. I'm still reading the report. It said Ajilo, who is a staunch supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari, said he had always been of the opinion that the herdsmen to farmer crisis should not be given an ethnic coloration, but his recent experience had altered this stand. He noted that most security guys in the Southwest were persons of northern extraction, but said his recent encounter was enough to put fear in the minds of Yoruba people. That is the same thing that had happened in the former Eastern region. Go to our place. The people in Overseas, they build houses and the Fulanis are the one guiding their houses. And the Biafrans, they have to take notice of all these people that the Fulanis are guiding their houses. If they don't remove them, they burn down all those houses. And those people, we are going to deal with them. That's exactly what is happening. This is a live report I'm reading to you. He said, Ajilo added, the Southeast is saying they don't want Fulani herdsmen in their land, but they are now in Yoruba land. This is fair. Mind you, we are not castigating anybody. I live in Lagos and in Ibadan, and our security guards were usually Northerners, and we don't have any problem with them. But when things start happening, people will need to talk. The question is, what are they doing there? Where are the police? They have abandoned the rules for these people, herdsmen, and you don't expect people to talk. He said there was a need to take urgent action to prevent bloodshed in the country. An identity card of one of the armed herdsmen, which was posted by Ajilo on social media, indicated that they were members of Magban and they belonged to the Ekare Akako branch of the association. I've already interpreted Magban for you. I've interpreted it that Nigeria is the country that is given to them by Allah, and they are going to take possession by all means. I've shown you. I've shown you their map where they divided the Niger and Benue. On the side of the Southeast, they put 4 booths of red and blue, signifying what? Capture of the Zik people by sword, or you accept Sharia, or you accept Muhammad. Either you believe in Islam or they kill you. That is why they are doing it. He said the logo of the vigilante group has 2 guns, while the code was Magban, NHQ with MSC. 2 guns. That is for you, to finish you. He said when contacted, the National Secretary of Mieti Allah, Baba Usman, told one of our correspondents, I don't know anything about that. I just heard this from you now. The security agency should go after them. I don't know anything about that one. Usman also said the ID card on one of the herdsmen does not belong to his group. The development comes barely a week after Mrs. Fonke Olakunle, the daughter of Afeniferi's daughter, Ruben Forasanti, was killed along the highway in Ondo State by suspected herdsmen. The federal government, as well as the ruling of Progressive Congress, have, however, denied reports that herdsmen were behind the murder. But look at it. How many of them have been arrested? How many of them have been prosecuted? And that is an eye-opener for you, Biafra. You understand me? It's an eye-opener for you. And who is the commander-in-chief? Look at it. Buhari, Mieti Allah meet in Asorok over February post. Punch of January 19, 2019. Piece of world records. President Muhammadu Buhari Friday met behind closed doors with the leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, the same Magban, at the presidential villa. This is as the group has said that since the emergence of President Buhari, their members have seen light at the end of the tunnel and reinstated their resolve to support his re-election for a second term. Speaking in an interview with State House correspondent after meeting with the president, secretary of the group, Alhaji Mohammed Kinuwa, claimed that since the former vice president and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, ADP, Alhaji Abubakar, picked the ticket of the party, clashes between farmers and herdsmen has stopped. He said that the resolution to support President Buhari on the forthcoming election was because of the president's commitment to the promotion of livestock development in the country and the welfare of the members. He said, "We have come to present to Mr. President the decision of the last Congress that we had on 27th of December 2018, where we endorsed Mr. President to the next level. We come to present him a plaque and a certificate symbolizing the support of over 20 million of our members across the country." He said, although the candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Abubakar, was a Fulani man from the north, he failed as vice president to secure the interests of pastoralists in the country. According to him, they are both Fulanis. Atiku had 2 terms as vice president in the country. Under his tenure, we did not see anything that was put in place to change the position of pastoralists in Nigeria. Throughout these periods of the past administration, the subsector suffered the worst neglect ever. The grazing reserves were allowed to be taken over by farmers. The infrastructures in the sector were allowed to dilapidate. The reserves were not maintained. It is now that we have begun to see light at the end of the tunnel. We know what Buhari did when he was in the PTF. He has a lot of passion for the development of this subsector. We also see the desire of what he wants to do to revive the livestock subsector in the country. Maban told President Buhari that the 20 million members association have sent the delegation to endorse his bid for a second term of office on account of the administration's achievement in office, which included the successful clampdown on kidnapping and cattle rustling and the fight against terrorism and corrupt elements in the society. It should be noted that the Sultan of Sokoto is the chairman board of trustees of this same Magba that had President Buhari as the patron and the social-cultural organization, while the Emir of Zazu, Emir of Kano, Lamido of Adamawa, Emir of Katsina are all members and board trustees of the Mieti Alakato Ranch, the association. So you have seen it taking over everywhere, with what? Guns. You have seen it. Let me read another news report for you. The military engaged armed herdsmen in gun battle in Benue. This is Vanguard of December 22, 2019. It says troops of the joint military Operation White Stroke at the early hours of Friday reportedly engaged suspected armed militant herdsmen in fierce gun battle in Anyibe, in Logo local government area of Benue State. Saturday, Vanguard gathered that the armed herdsmen had sneaked into the area from neighboring Nasarawa State and set up a camp in the area preparatory to launching an attack on the community when the troops were alerted of their presence. You see what happened in Ondo? I'm showing you Benue. When contacted, commander of the military operation, Major General Adeyemi Yekini, who confirmed the development, said his personnel responded swiftly to a distress call from the area and after a gun duel, dislodged the armed henchmen. General Yekini said, our troops, and I'm quoting what the general said, he said, our troops conducted an overnight operation during which an open camp set up by some armed herdsmen along River Benue Bank at Alibe was destroyed. River Benue Bank. Remember the Pharaoh's dream by the bank of the river. I'm still quoting him. Some of the armed elements that attempted to cross back into Nasarawa State got their boat capsized during the exchange of fire. It is therefore likely that the armed group might have suffered some casualty during the encounter. They didn't even know whether they killed anybody. Our troops that participated in the operation did not sustain any casualty, and no civilian was killed during the incident, contrary to the rumor of purported civilian casualties, she added. The latest development is coming just when person displaced is coming when person the latest development is coming just when persons displaced as a result of the lingering crisis were being encouraged to vacate the various IDP camps and return to their ancestral homes. What do they want to do? they want to clear all of them. By the time they clear all of them, because already they have been displaced, so they are in IDP camps. The Fulanis have taken over their ancestral homes. So they want to clear them. By the time you clear them, there will be nobody to return to destroy the Fulanis and say, give me back my ancestral home. That is exactly what is going on. That is exactly what they are doing. So look at it. And my people are there, sleeping, sleeping. Boko Haram has been defeated. We never come back. Buratai, this is Vanguard of May 30, 2019. They are deceiving you. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Yusuf Buratai, has said that the Boko Haram terrorist group has been defeated by the Nigerian military, vowing that Boko Haram will never come back again as Boko Haram. He's talking about you, the Biafrans, not Boko Haram. He explained that what is currently playing out in the northeast is the metamorphosis of ISWAP, Islamic State of West Africa province, which is an attempt by a group of international criminal organizations to explore the loopholes created by the breakdown of law and order in some neighboring countries to perpetuate criminality in the West African sub-region. The army chief who spoke when children of several schools in Abuja visited him to learn more about book, The Legend of Buratai, written in his honor and presented to the public on May 17, however, declared that just as Boko Haram was pursued out of Northeast, the current band of international criminal gangs operating under the guise of ISWAP will also be chased and hunted out. Commenting on how he coped with the pressure of office, the COO said, "When I was appointed the chief of staff of army staff, I had the feeling that I will be the least controversial COAS. I had the feeling I will have an excellent relationship with the media. The first thing I did was to call the then director of Army Public Relations and told him that henceforth all our actions and activities must be reported and made known to the media. Release to us all the names of soldiers that are being killed by your so-called Boko Haram." The same person that said Boko Haram has been defeated, what did he say? Army organized spiritual warfare against Boko Haram. Spiritual warfare. Special effort needed to defeat Boko Haram. When a man, general in charge of war, is now depending on prayer to bring down insurgency, you know that something is very, very wrong. And yet, the service chief still remains in office unchanged to date. This aspect of the report I'm reading, I consider them to be very, very important. I consider them to be even the most important aspect of this particular discourse we are making today, because I really believe, because we have to substantiate Sultan's claim that Nigeria is indivisible despite diversity. You saw what he said. And also the claim by the presidency himself that the opposition parties are mobilizing the bandits and Boko Haram against, against the election, as they allege, in that punch of January 21, 2019. So it's very, very important we just look at and see the people who are actually behind, who are the sponsors of this terrorism we are actually talking about in Nigeria. It's very, very important. We have seen the Global Terrorism Watch that reports that herdsmen killed more Nigerians than Boko Haram in 2018. And we have seen how the chief of army staff himself said that there is no difference between the herdsmen and Boko Haram. So this is very, very important, because for us to actually know what is happening, I want us to take an international approach in evaluating whether these claims are right or wrong. How do we do it? We are going to go through Buhari's actions and inactions. What he said, what people said about him, and actually what he said about himself too. From there, we will actually see the people who are behind this terrorism and all that, because we are looking at an international consensus that we demand for the removal of that Igbo man at ICC, Chibu or whatever he calls himself, so that a man of conscience, a person of conscience, will be appointed into that particular position. to bust the scam, the very terrible scam that is going on in Nigeria, so that Buhari himself will immediately be arrested and prosecuted for crimes against humanity. So that is the way we are going to evaluate those behind this particular, insurgency that we are seeing in Nigeria today, that have remained intractable, sponsored by the state themselves, as we are going to see. Because there's something I believe. I wrote it in my journal, on how Biafra will be achieved. My own method that I'm following, on how Biafra will be achieved. I wrote it here. By doing what? Look at it, the vision of my anointed journal, which I've been decoding, which we have been using to decode John Kelly's speech. What is the vision? Unearthing indisputable, treasonable acts of Nigerian rulers and raising legal documents, facts, and arguments for the final dissolution of the Nigerian state. That is how I believe that Biafra will come. Three-pronged attack. Three-pronged approach. Raising indisputable arguments of the treasonable acts of the Nigerian leaders themselves. That is internal. Then externally, by forcing the monk to dance naked in the market space, in the marketplace. Deroping the monk. That's the international collaborators. I have to derope the monk and force them to dance naked in the market square, so that goldfish will no longer have a hiding place. And then you go through the normal, legal, local laws of Nigeria. Go through their local assemblies. That's my system of getting Biafra. Launching a proactive, tactical, offensive attack that puts them on the defensive. That's my approach. Contrary to those who are launching a propaganda war and, all this piecemeal by piecemeal, our people are going in the defensive games they are playing. And by the time you feed all our people, you feed them piecemeal by piecemeal, and they are gone. Who will fight the battle for you? So let us just weigh some of these approaches by the terms I've already illustrated. And for us to understand Buhari as a person, whoever is there, Buhari as a person, let us go back into Buhari's antecedents. Let's go back into his antecedents and see what we have done in the past. And from there, we will now come forward, just oppose it with the present today. And know whether this man was making a mistake or whether he have a clear agenda that he is actually following and forerunning in Nigeria. Now let's go to the archives. I'm going to read you archives. This is from archives. When Buhari was the military head of state, that was in 1985. This thing happened in April 10, 1985. I have to read this report. This is Lagos, Nigeria. 3 Nigerian men convicted of illegal possession of cocaine and heroin were publicly executed Wednesday by a military firing squad. Now the full report. Several thousand people watched the execution outside the Kirikiri maximum security prison. Police and soldiers had trouble controlling the crowd. Drawn by radio and television publicity, Lagos State Radio said a number of people fainted when the 6-man execution squad fired. Bartholomew Azubike Owo, 26, a former employee of the Nigerian Airways. Lawal Akani Uju Olope, 30, a papers dealer, and Bernard Ogedembe, 29, a seller, were condemned separately by a military tribunal last December. They were the people that was executed on that particular day. Owo smiled broadly, waved to reporters, and prayed in front of the execution stake before he was tied to it, witness said. Ojulepe, convicted of possessing more than 2 pounds of cocaine, also prayed before being tied to the stake. And these are his words. I'm quoting him. I'm eating the fruit of my misdeed. It was my first time out on the cocaine business, but I was caught. End of quote, he said. The execution took 5 minutes to complete. The victims were loaded into a rough coffin for burial at Atan Cemetery, Lagos. The 3 men were the first Nigerians executed under Decree 20, which makes drug possession and trafficking and illegal dealings in oil punishable by death. The decree is the result of a crackdown on crime and corruption by the government of Major General Muhammadu Buhari, which seized power in a coup on December 31st, 1983. This was a man that committed treason by removing a legally elected government of Alhaji Shehu Shagari and Alex Ekweme. Removed them, and then look at him. He executed 3 people. And what he thought about this? He said the Buhari government has declared war against indiscipline. This is the end of this report. This was when he came, that was in 1985. We are going to juxtapose it to the present reality of what this man is still doing today, for us to know the heart of this man. And one important thing about this report of what happened on that 1985 was that this decree was not there when that crime was committed. Buhari operated this decree retroactively. They put the law and then he set it back. It was not there before these people committed that crime. He set it back retroactively. So this digression is important to help us to know the heart of darkness that we are evaluating in the man they call the president of Nigeria, so that the world will understand exactly the crisis that we are facing in this country. Now, what happened today? I'm going to read you another contemporary issue. Now, I'm going to read you another similar issue in that direction. Now, listen. One important thing to notice about the 3 people that were executed in 1985 was what? They were all Southerners. Look at their ages, very young boys. Southerners that were executed by a retroactive decree. Very, very important. Now look at the same Buhari again. How we secured Zainab Aliyu and Ibrahim Abubakar's release from Saudi Arabia. What I'm reading for you is from the minister himself. This is the Nation of May 4, 2019. Now I'm reading the report. It said the battle for the release of Zainab Aliyu and Ibrahim Abubakar followed a tortuous but well-planned and coordinated process, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, has said. This was what? On the government level. In a blow-by-blow analysis of the ministry's action towards the eventual release of the duo, the minister said in a statement signed by the ministry's acting spokesperson, Friday Akpan, that on receipt of the information of the arrest of the duo on the same plane through the Nigerian consulate in Jeddah, government stepped in and requested for full investigation to ascertain the innocence of the duo who are not related. The statement reads, and I'm quoting the statement, it will be recalled that Ms. Zainab Habibu Aliyu was arrested by Saudi security officials on Wednesday, 26 December 2018 in a hotel in Medina. This was following the discovery at the airport of a bag containing illicit drugs, purportedly bearing a tag with her name. Illicit drug is what? Cocaine or what? Bearing a tag with her name. Another passenger related to Zainab and who was traveling on the same aircraft was also arrested on the same day as Zainab. He is Ibrahim Abubakar. On receipt of information on the arrest of the two Nigerians, the Nigerian consulate in Jeddah intervened and requested for full investigation to ascertain the innocence of Zainab Aliyu and Ibrahim Abubakar. Investigation conducted by the airport authorities and national drug law enforcement agencies in Kano discovered a drug cartel at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, that specializes in planting illicit drugs on innocent travelers without their knowledge. Very important. Following the arrest of members of the cartel, the federal government is currently prosecuting the suspects in the Federal High Court, Kano. To date, nobody have seen these suspects till today. Till today, nobody. No television network covering it. No media showing us the pictures of these particular people till date. I'm still quoting the report. The outcome of the investigation and subsequent trial of the suspects confirmed the innocence of the two Nigerians. The Consulate General of Nigeria in Jeddah, upon instruction from headquarters, therefore sent series of diplomatic notes to the Saudi Foreign Ministry informing of the arrest of members of the syndicate in Kano and forwarding the report of the NDLEA investigation and court proceedings. As a follow-up in Nigeria, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Transport, accompanied by the Director Air Transport, had meeting with the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the matter and submitted documents relating to the Kano Airport investigation, NDLEA report, and court process. These documents were forwarded to the consulate in Jeddah to further support the innocence of the two Nigerians and also resolve the issues of luggage tag numbers. Following this effort, officials in the consulate secured appointment and met with the Director General of the Saudi Foreign Ministry Jeddah branch and requested him to forward the NDLEA report to all concerned Saudi agencies with a view to releasing Zainab Aliyu and Ibrahim Abubakar. All these processes followed were consistent with the usual diplomatic channels of engagement. To maintain the diplomatic pressure, another note was sent by our embassy in Riyadh conveying the same message to the Saudi authorities. On Friday, 26 April 2019, a note was also sent to both the Saudi embassy in Abuja and this consulate in Kano, forwarding court documents relating to the trial of members of the Kano syndicate. Thereafter, the legal advisor of the Saudi Foreign Ministry confirmed that relevant agencies and departments in Saudi Arabia were going to meet to consider all the no's, verbal and reports submitted by Nigerians in order to facilitate early resolution of the case of Zainab Aliyu and Ibrahim Abubakar. While all these efforts were ongoing, Mr. Habib B. Aliyu, the father of Zainab, appealed to the federal government of Nigeria, the Saudi authorities, and the international community, as well as well-meaning individuals, to intervene in his daughter's case and save the innocent lady from possible execution. It should be noted that the resolution of this case required the convergence of the diplomatic process and the judicial process, leveraging on President Muhammad Buhari's goodwill and international standing. The judicial through legal process in Nigeria provided the critical document that aided the diplomatic efforts to establish the innocence of both Zainab Aliyu and Ibrahim Abubakar. More so, it must be emphasized that the intervention by President Muhammad Buhari, directing that all efforts be exerted to secure the release of the two Nigerians, facilitated the expedited final favorable resolution of the matter. Intervention of who? President Muhammad Buhari. Fortunately, this silent diplomatic effort in the past few weeks culminated in the release of Zainab Aliyu on Tuesday 30 April 2019 and Ibrahim Abubakar on Wednesday 1st May 2019. End of the report. Who are these two people involved? Two Muslim northerners. Do you see the speed and the length that this man, the so-called president of Nigeria, went through? Do you see how under 2 days, under 3 days, the court of Nigeria had finished everything? And this was a man who executed 3 Southerners because of drug in a retroactive decree, with a retroactive decree. Now, the same man, look at him. He said the culprits have been sentenced in Kano. The same man that executed three Southerners in 1985 for cocaine pushing, the same cocaine, something is happening today. How many years did the court jail the culprits? Who are they? What are their names? Let us see them and let us know them. What is it? The chief executive officer of the Nigeria Diaspora Commission. What is it? The Abike Dabiri or what like? She came openly and said that one airline was involved and all that. She mentioned the name of the airline. That they are, they are going to suspend the airline and all that. And let her tell us the airline that is involved and what disciplinary action that have been taken both against the airline and the so-called syndicate people. This was a lady who came through, who entered, who became a politician by the glamour of, what she did when she was anchoring NTA Newsline. She entered as a journalist. Now look at her being one of the worst corrupt politicians in Nigeria. Till today, they covered it up. Look at their tent. They went to extricate the Zainab and all that. And this is a man who executed 3 Southerners. Up to today, Zainab and Ibrahim, you see how they got free. And after that, the same government paid them 5 million each for rehabilitation. Look at it. We are talking about Nigeria. We are talking about Nigeria. So we are going to see whether this man, whether he's acting like a statesman or whether there is a cold-blooded agenda that is very, very devilish that this man is exhibiting. So that is the thing I want to open people's eyes. You see it? Now look at this report. It says, Nigerian government sends relief material to flood victims in Mozambique. Flood victims in Mozambique. I'm digressing a little to show you the character of this man. Sahara Reporters of September 1, 2019. It said the Nigerian Air Force has said it has completed the airlifting of relief material to Mozambique and Zimbabwe. The news agency of Nigeria reports that this was to further assist victims of the massive flooding that affected some communities in the 2 countries in April. Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, disclosed this in a statement on Saturday in Abuja. He said the airlift mission were conducted for the National Emergency Management Agency. He said, the airlift mission, which were conducted for the National Emergency Management Agency, conveyed critical relief materials such as drugs, medical supplies, and treated mosquito nets donated by Nigerians to alleviate the sufferings of the flood victims. The airlift mission were executed in furtherance of the NAF's constitutional role of projecting air power beyond the shores of the country, as well as providing military aid to civil authorities. Speaking further, Demolala said the NAF air crews and NEMA officials handed over the item to officials from the Nigerian High Commission in the 2 countries for onward delivery to their host government. This is a government that closed the border of Nigeria in the south, primarily targeted at the people of the former eastern region. Day by day, people are going through agonizing, humiliating malnutrition as a result of the blockade of the border. And yet, you have relief to send to other countries, leaving your own citizens to starve to death. We are still evaluating the so-called president of a country's fatal attraction to a nest of killers of his own people. Buhari's fatal romance with the killer herdsmen and Boko Haram. This uncanny romance with this evil aspect to actually know whether there is a deliberate agenda he's pursuing, as I said before, or whether it's a mistake he's making. I hope we are looking at the report I'm presenting. Now look at it from the Vice President himself. He said in 10 years, Boko Haram killed 20,000, destroyed $9 billion infrastructure. This is by Punch of Friday 7, 2018. Let me just rush it. He said in the past 10 years, Islamic terror group Boko Haram has killed 20,000 persons. 20,000 persons. Not 20,000 chickens. 20,000 persons. And destroyed infrastructure worth $9 billion. Vice President Professor Yemi Osibanjo has said. Osibanjo said this at the inauguration of an intervention initiative tagged Inclusive Basic Service Delivery and Livelihood Empowerment Integrated Program by the African Development Bank in Abuja on Thursday. The Vice President said the war on insurgency had displaced more than 2 million Nigerians from their homes and communities. He said, and this is his exact word, there is no doubt that the havoc that the Boko Haram insurgency has wreaked on the northeast Nigeria and the entire country is unprecedented in recent Nigeria's history. Unprecedented. Over the last decades, more than 20,000 persons have been killed and $9 billion infrastructure destroyed, including more than 400,000 houses and thousands of schools, hospitals, and other public buildings, and more than 2 million Nigerians have been displaced from their homes and communities. We are presenting to the global community, not even exhaustive, just a tip of the iceberg of the atrocities that are going on in Nigeria. And you see the romance with evil by the leadership of the country called Nigeria. And the whole world are keeping quiet. Now look at this one. 847 soldiers killed by Boko Haram, buried in Boni Cemetery, Ndume. This is Punch, October 15, 2019. I will have to put the two reports. The chairman, Senate Committee on Army, Senator Ali Ndume, said on Tuesday that 840 Nigerian soldiers killed by the Boko Haram terrorists from 2013 to date were buried in the military cemetery located in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. He said the figure did not include other soldiers killed by the insurgents and buried in other military cemeteries located in other parts of the northeast geographical zone. It does not include others. Thousands of others unknown. How many soldiers? 847. Gunmen shoot dead 9 soldiers in Zamfara. This is PM News of October 4, 2019. Look at the magnitude, the quantum number of human beings, Nigerians, slaughtered by, when you hear gunmen, they have told you there's no, Chief of Army Staff himself said it, no difference between Boko Haram and herdsmen. They are the ones killing all these times. Gunmen suspected to be bandits have shot dead 9 soldiers in Sonke village, Anko local government area of Zamfara state. It was gathered that the gunmen on motorcycle armed arrived the area and opened fire on the soldiers and policemen stationed at the community. Sonke community is just 30 kilometers south of Ankara town, the local government headquarters, the nation's report. Sources within state government said that the attack was retaliation on the earlier killings of repentant bandits by the soldiers in recent times. Look at it, bandits. How many? How many Nigerian gunmen suspected to be bandits have shot dead 9 Nigerian soldiers? Go and look at them. All of them Satanás. Go and look at them. Look at the magnitude of the offense. Now, I said the index of how we are going to evaluate whether they are actually responsible. I have told you by his actions and inaction, by what people say about him, by what he said about himself, and by what he is doing himself. That's how we evaluate it. Now, what did Buhari say about himself? For us to know, I'm just presenting legal documents so that people will now know the culpability of this man. He's very culpable. Now, in 2002, long before he became the president, Muhammadu Buhari, the incumbent president of Nigeria, said, and I'm quoting him, "I can die for the cause of Islam if necessary. We are prepared to fight another civil war." Did people hear am I communicating? In 2002, long before he became the president, Muhammadu Buhari, the incumbent president of Nigeria, said, and I'm quoting him direct, "I can die for the cause of Islam if necessary. We are prepared to fight another civil war. We cannot be blackmailed into killing Sharia. End of quote. This was, Buhari said this in Freedom House 2000, as was reported by Aken Osuntoku. This was what Buhari said. Another thing Buhari said is what? Muslims should only vote those who will defend their faith. We are more than the Christians. If you add our Muslim brothers in the West, that is the Yorubas. That is what Buhari said. Liberty Radio, Kaduna in 2003. Giving you collaborations. This is what he said. Another thing Buhari said is what? Buhari, before he became president on November 1, 2012, was nominated by Boko Haram to be their main representative to negotiate with then President Goodluck Jonathan administration on ceasefire terms. Buhari, before he became president, publicly stated that killing Boko Haram members and destroying their houses was unjust. That is Buhari himself, that was what he said. Now, another development. The Guardian newspaper of August 27, 2001 reported Buhari as stating unequivocally, and I'm quoting him, "I will continue to show openly and inside me the total commitment to the Sharia movement that is sweeping all over Nigeria. Allah willing, we will not stop the agitation for the total implementation of the Sharia law in the country." Now ask yourself, what is the cardinal objective of the Boko Haram? What is the cardinal objective? They want the country to be turned into what? A Muslim state. Sharia law to operate all over the country. The same ideology with Buhari, not Buhari. So these are evidences that are presented to the global community for them to know that Buhari, the so-called Buhari, president of Nigeria, is a satisfied terrorist. And it has become a challenge to the global community that this man can never be allowed a day longer to remain as the president of the country. Buhari have to be arrested for crimes against humanity. I'm still going to substantiate, give you further issues. We have heard what Buhari himself said with all the whole records. I'm still balancing, I'm still coming. That was on Boko Haram. Now, on the herdsmen activities, to show you that they are the same thing. What did this one say? He said, we decided to kill 50 people for every slain herdsman. This is head of Zamfara bandits. So when you hear bandits killing, we are going to know, this man, they will tell you, you will know the origin, the tribe that made up these bandits. It's a head of Zamfara bandits who renounce violence. This is Punch of August 17, 2019. What did he say? He said Hassan Dantawaye is the commander of bandits who recently renounced violence following peace talks in Zamfara State. The bandits who are Fulani herdsmen, so that the world will know when they say bandits shot soldiers, let them know the people that are committing all these crimes. Fulani herdsmen. The bandits who are Fulani herdsmen had been engaged in killing, kidnapping, and other crimes, which they blame on cattle rustling and harassment by security agencies and local vigilante groups. He was asked, "You recently said your people were forced into a life of kidnapping, killing, and other crimes because you were unjustly treated by the government and society. How were you treated unjustly?" That was the question. Now look at his Hassan, look at his response. He said, "Thank you very much for this question. I want people to note his comment. We, the Fulani, had been facing serious challenges, both from the government and cattle rustlers, some of whom are our own people. I mean, some bad eggs among us. Most of them are not even citizens of this country." The word should take emphasis. Most of them are not even citizens of this country. We were living peacefully about 10 years ago. There was nothing like cattle rustling or kidnapping, let alone killing or destruction of innocent people's properties. The only issue we had then was Fulani headers through farmers' clashes, and they were always addressed by community leaders of both the farmers and the Fulani. Let me tell you the truth of the matter. Cattle rustling was the genesis of armed banditry in this country. Many Fulani like me have lost their cattle to the rustlers. You know that the Fulanis are neither farmers nor traders. They depend solely on the rearing of animals. What am I trying to bring out? The so-called bandits are what? Fulanis. So there is no difference between the Boko Haram, the cattle, the so-called herdsmen, and the so-called bandits. They are what? Fulanis. Now, look at another report. You say, herdsmen say all lands belong to Buhari. Attack, rape, chase data women from farm. This is Vanguard of November 6, 2018. So when you are looking at this action of all these people, you weigh them in relation to Buhari personal comment that set up his mindset and actually the agenda that Buhari is pursuing. And you will see it's exactly in tandem with the actions of the so-called bandits, Fulani herdsmen, and the Boko Haram, and other group of terrorists. Now look at this news report. You say, Ewu. Women of flood-ravaged Ewu, Urobo community, Uheli South local government area, Delta State, have cried out that suspected herdsmen attack, rape, and chase them away from their farmlands. The women allege that the armed herdsmen often claim that all lands in the country belong to President Muhammadu Buhari. The women who lay siege to the Ewu-Ejokota Road penultimate Monday as early as 6 a.m. allege that the armed herdsmen who take turns to defy them and maim those that refuse to yield to their lawful desires feed their herds with their farm produce. Besides attacking them in the farm, they further allege that the herdsmen usually laid ambush and robbed traders going to local markets of their goods and flee into the bush. Recounting the audio to Vanguard, Madam Felicia Atagogo stated that she was attacked at her farm by two herdsmen when she tried to stop them from grazing their hares on her cassava farm. Owing to the flood that ravaged our community, I acquired another plot of land on lease, only for the farm to be invaded by hares that were shepherded into the farm by these herdsmen. When I accosted them and tried to stop them from grazing their hares on my cassava, they brought out daggers and macheted and attacked me. I was lucky to have fled away. Now, what triggered their protest? You see, one of the ladies in the community was not as lucky as Madam Atagogo, as she died from wounds inflicted on her by herdsmen who attacked her in her farm and tried to rape her. A villager simply identified as Mama Ofoma told NDV that her death sparked the latest protest. Quoting her, she was at her farm, quoting the report, she was at her farm with one of her children, weeding, unknown to them that a group of herdsmen were within the vicinity. The herdsmen immediately pounced on her and tried to rape her. While trying to resist them, amidst screams, they attacked her with their matches, leaving deep cuts on her, and fled into the bush. When people came to the scene, she was rushed to the hospital after losing a lot of blood, but died at the hospital, she said. They impudently claimed Buhari owns all lands. Woman leader. Woman leader of the community, Queen Dressy Ruven, stated that the herdsmen now operate with effrontery, telling them that all lands in Nigeria, including our communal lands, belong to President Muhammadu Buhari. They also claim that we have no right to prevent them from grazing on our farm because President Muhammadu Buhari owns all land in Nigeria. Hence, we cannot claim ownership of the land. They uproot our cassava, feed it to their hares, and when you try to resist them, they attack you with matches and maim you, if you are lucky, as some others, or even, or even shoot you. So this is the reason we have barricaded the road, as all effort to reach the governor, police, and other security agencies to evict these evil herdsmen from our community have been futile, she explained. This is what the women are going through. Now, look at what they said. They said, Fulani herdsmen from Chad, Niger, to benefit from federal government livestock plan. That is Punch of September 16, 2019. I'm giving you collaborative evidences to show you that Buhari had a premeditated agenda that is following. Look at it. He said what? Fulani herdsmen from Chad, Niger, and this is Punch of September 16, 2019. It's a Fulani herdsmen from Chad, Niger, and other neighboring countries will benefit from the planned livestock transformation plan the Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has said. So all the whole Ruga they want to do all over the country is for the Fulani from all over the world, anywhere they come from. It's a Mohammed, who was a guest on Channel Television, Sunrise Daily, on Monday, said, since Fulani herdsmen are nomadic, it will be inappropriate to deprive them from benefiting from the livestock plan just because they are not from Nigeria. The initiative will be what? 80% funded by the federal government, while the state would provide 20% counterpart funding and the grazing land, funded by the money of the federal government. And then the state themselves will be forced to provide the land. And then every state in Nigeria will have it. Whether they like it or not, they will have it, according to the government plan. And yet for the Fulanis all over the world. I hope the word is saying. Now, the governor, whose state is among those that will be part of the initiative, said Fulanis exist in many countries across Africa and share a brotherhood which transcend boundaries, and share a brotherhood which transcends boundaries. When asked how the government would ensure that only Nigerians benefit from the livestock plan, Mohammed said, I think there is a lot of mistrust and misconception as regards the Fulani man. The Fulani man is a global or African person. He moved from the Gambia to Senegal and his nationality is Fulani. As a person, I may have my relation in Cameroon, but they are also Fulani. I am a Fulani man from my maternal side. We will just have to take this as our own heritage, something that is African. So we cannot just close our borders and say the Fulani man is just a Nigerian. In most cases, the crisis is precipitated by those outside Nigeria. When there is a reprisal, it is not the Fulani man within Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge which is embedded in the traditional Fulani man that attracts what? Reprisal. As if it was right to allow foreigners to benefit from Nigerian taxpayers' money, the governor said it was proper. He said Fulani don't actually have one single nationality. They are nomadic in nature. Mohammed said, we are already accommodating them. Do you delineate and really know who is not a Nigerian Fulani man? They are all Nigerian because their identity, their citizenship is Nigerian, even though they have relatives from all over the world. So, presumably, they are Nigerians because they move all over and have relations all over. That is why our population in Nigeria is fluid. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? So you accommodate them all from all over the world, all over African countries or what? And then when they come here, they commit all sort of offense and all that. Nobody is held responsible for the crime that they commit. And yet Nigerian government, they are the people funding, registering them as Nigerians, no matter wherever they come from. And then the people themselves, we have no representative in the security architecture of the country. We don't have any member of the Southeast in it to know what is happening. But then the Fulani from Chad, from all over Africa, they have a right. And the people of the Southeast, whether they like it or not, and other Nigerians, they must be forced to accommodate their killers who are armed, unlicensed armed. But you, as a citizen, have no right to defend yourself. You just have to leave yourself open and your family as a guinea pig to be slaughtered by Fulani that their population, their movement is fluid, that have no boundary, that are the same people. We had earlier seen the earlier report, of Fulani herdsmen from Chad, Niger, to benefit from federal government's livestock plan by Punch of September 16, 2019. Now look at this report. Herdsmen from Chad, Mali, Niger, behind kidnap of Delta lawyer, 5 others. This is by Arewa community, reported by Vanguard of September 1, 2019. Let me just a little bit of the report. It said the Sadiki of Arewa community in Uvie local government area of Delta State, Suleiman Jaru, had disclosed that Fulani herdsmen from Chad, Mali, and Niger, known as Boros, are the brains behind kidnapping and other related crimes by herdsmen in part of the state. The Arewa leader made the disclosure weekend during a meeting with the police community leaders, vigilante, and the Arewa community following the kidnapping of a lawyer and 5 others, including some pastors, at the Uheri area of the east-west road near Uheri. The hoodlums, who are reported to be armed with sophisticated weapons, including AK-47 rifles, according to security sources, normally abduct their victims along the east-west road, keep them in their den located in the area until ransom is paid for their release. Speaking during the meeting, Jaure, who is a former special assistant to the Delta State government, said, and this is what he said, those causing confusion are of three types, and the worst part of it is that some of our community indigents are collaborating with them to cause havoc. These herdsmen are the Boros who were chased away from Chad, Mali, and Niger Republic. They come purposely to graze and go back to the north after a short time, but in the process, they cause a lot of havoc. You see it? Now we are to accommodate all the Fulanis from everywhere. Now you see what they are doing. All these reports are very, very necessary for the world to see, so that by the time we will reach a conclusion on the advice to give our people on how to defend themselves, the world will now understand why those conclusions are reached. So that is why these things are very, very important. Buhari himself said they are from Libya. Sultan of Sokoto said they are from Mali. And this man is collaborating it. Northern Elder said they are from Niger and all sorts of things. So these people are the sponsors of the killer squads that we have in the country. Even at that, they are forcing everybody, whether we like it or not, you are going to accept their ruga. We must have to give settlement to the Fulanis that are coming up from all over the places, armed with AK-47. You see it? Now look at it. I'm still collaborating, still reading the reports of what I'm saying. Operation Safe Haven to rehabilitate 500 repentant Sarasuka boys. This is Punch of November 11, 2019. How many to be rehabilitated? 500. I'm just trying to rush some of these things. The tip of the iceberg. It's a military released 983 suspected Boko Haram members. This is Punch of November 27, 2019. The military authorities on Wednesday released 983 suspected Boko Haram members cleared of complicity with the terror group. The head of the military counter-insurgents operation in the north Operation Lafayette, Major General, Olusegun Adeneye, handed them to Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umaru at the Giwa Barak Meduguri. Presenting the men to the governor, and then he said they were alleged to have links with the terror group. The army appealed to the Borno State governor to do what? To empower them by training them in various trades and vocations. They arrest them, they hand them over to the governor, to the Borno State governor. He said Operation Safe Corridor hands over 86 repentant Boko Haram fighters. This is Authority November 8, 2019. Now look at it. You see the international collaboration here. See the international collaborators. You see? The Operation Safe Corridor, led by the Defense Headquarters, to ensure multi-agency humanitarian operations are conducted in tandem with extant international humanitarian laws, has handed over 86 Boko Haram child fighters who voluntarily surrendered to troops of Operation Lafayette. Colonel Onyema Nwachukwu, Acting Director Defense Information, in a statement said the effort is to ensure that minors and other repentant Boko Haram fighters in the northeast are given the necessary support and opportunity to embrace peace. He said the operation is designed to also de-radicalize, rehabilitate, and reintegrate repentant Boko Haram combatants who willingly surrender to the troops. The scheme is a global model that enjoys collaboration and support from local and international non-governmental organizations, as well as multinational organizations such as United Nations, International Children Emergency Fund, that is UNICEF, International Organization for Migration, United States Agency for International Development, Department, that is USAID, Department for International Development, DFID, Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, and Northeast Regional Initiative, NERI. These are the international collaborators that are killing Nigerians, sponsors of Boko Haram. It said, following the handover, the repentant child fighters would undergo comprehensive child care program sponsored and organized by United Nations Intercontinental Children Emergency Fund, that is UNICEF, in conjunction with Borno State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development. The child fighters, who are between ages 10, 9, 19, and parts of over 1,370 Boko Haram fighters who have so far surrendered to troops of Operation Lafiado, after a thorough profiling and screening, the minors were considered suitable for the 6 months radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration program. Arrangement is also ongoing to transfer another set of 500 repentant insurgents to Operation Safe Corridor for DRR program. The handover ceremony was witnessed by the Borno State Commissioner of Women Affairs and Social Development, Hajia Sowora Gambo, and UNICEF official, Mr. Clement Adamu. This international organization, have you ever seen them talking about compensation for the victims of Boko Haram? They look at them, they reintegrate them, they say they are rehabilitating, they are going for rehabilitation. After they ship them again, they go back into insurgency. And then certain soldiers are moved in, and these people continue to slaughter certain soldiers. Look at the international collaborators. Not one day say compensation for the victims of Boko Haram. Release the names of the victims, they will not release. Release the names of soldiers who are victims, never, they will never release it. Now look at this one. It says, Borno reintegrate 132 ex-Boko Haram members. This is Nation of October 7, 2019. 132 repentant Boko Haram members were on Sunday reintegrated into their communities by the Borno State government. They have gone back into the communities. From there, they go back to the war front again and start to kill Christians. Have you seen the agenda? Have you seen the linkages, the links? It said the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Hajia Sowora Gambo, disclosed this in a handing over ceremony of some rehabilitated Boko Haram members in Maiduguri. She said the youths were released to their families and local government officials after completing 12 months skill acquisition and rehabilitation training at the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Transit Center. Gambo said the training was designed to equip the beneficiaries with skills that will enable them generate income, be self-reliant, and add value to the society. She said that sewing machines, barbing kits, shoemaking kits, and money were given to the beneficiaries as resettlement packages. Bashir Ahmed, one of the beneficiaries, thanked the government for the empowerment program, describing it as a life changer. These are people that have made a lot of women widows, killed uncountable number of Biafran soldiers, killed uncountable number of soldiers. You have seen the quantum by the Vice President, over $9 billion, over $9 million, over $9 billion that this insurgency have cost the country. Have you seen it? Then at the end, what do you get? You see what you get? You pamper them with kid gloves. You see them? Army hands over 151 repentant Boko Haram insurgents to Borno government. This is Guardian of July 22, 2019. Check the quantum number that are being handed over to these people. It said the Nigerian Army on Monday handed over 151 repentant Boko Haram insurgents to Borno State government for rehabilitation and reintegration into the society. Major General Bamidele Shafa, the coordination operation, the coordinate operation Safe Haven Corridor, made the disclosure during the handing over of the repentant insurgent at the Burunkutu Rehabilitation Center, Maiduguri. Shafe disclosed that the 151 male repentant insurgents comprised 132 adults, 19 minors, who completed 52 weeks of the radicalization process at the center in where? In Gombe. Have you seen what is happening? These are prime first-class murderers. Army released 155 ex-Boko Haram fighters to Borno, Yobe. This is Sahara Reporters of November 27, 2019. The one we read before was in July. This one again in what? November 27. And this is only a tip of the iceberg. No punishment, no nothing, with special facilities built for them. Special detention centers. Now let us evaluate what occurred on the other side. Now look at this report. Army hands over 27 pro-Biafran protesters to Abia police. Biafran protesters armed innocent people. With flash, you hand them over they will remain in detention till their kingdom come. But when it is the turn of these ones, you pamper them. When they carry drug, you send the government delegation and pay them 5 million. When they kill you, bring them, you rehabilitate them. But when it is Biafrans, what do? You send them over, hand them over to police. He said the leadership, this is the nation of October 10, 2019. The leadership of 14th Brigade headquarters of the Nigerian Army, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's barracks on Hafia, Abia State, has handed over 27 members of pro-Biafran protesters to the State Command of the Nigerian Police Force, NPF. The pro-Biafran members, who consist of 4 females and 23 males, were arrested in about the commercial nave center of the state while they were holding a protest. Information gathered has it that the group who marched around city were arrested by soldiers attached to Ngwa High School Forward Operation Base under 144 Battalion Headquarters. Sources at the Army folk told our reporter that pro-Biafran group claimed that they were members of the Biafran. They claimed that they were members of the Biafran Army and arm of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. I claim that the IPOB spokesman, Comrade Emma Powerful, had in a press statement debunked. According to a source at Ngwa High School, Army FOB, the group members were marching toward the Osisioma axis of the Aba Owode Express Road when they were accosted by the soldiers on duty. Look at it. People marching, you arrest them, you hand them over. But this one, you arrest them, you send them, you release them. He said, Buhari shocked over Miyetti Boko Haram attack. Vows Nigeria will prevail. This is Vanguard of November 24, 2018. You have a man who rose through the rank in the army to the position of a major general. And you are shocked over Miyetti Boko Haram attack. Boko Haram attack, you are shocked. That shows you're not a human being. That's good to show what I said about Charles Darwin missing link as the fallen. That shows the man in Asorok is a beast. He doesn't know anything. That is why you have this Chief Justice of the Federation who flies an aeroplane. Who drives an aeroplane? He drives an aeroplane like a car instead of flying it. That is confirmation of the Charles Darwin missing link. That's what you're saying. Look at it. Zamfara killing. I am in constant contact with bandits, says Nigerian police chief, as residents carry corpse to government house. No need to read it. This is Sahara Reporters of July 21, 2019. Bandits are killing. You are in contact. You are in contact. It's according to the villagers. Despite the peace accord reached by the government, the bandits are still killing innocent people. They said over 30 people from the village had been killed by suspected Fulani bandits within the last few days with the peace accord in place. They said unless urgent action was taken, they would be left with no option but to flee from the village to avoid becoming victims of such attacks. Nagogo, while receiving the group promised that the perpetrators will be arrested. Now, this Osman Nagogo is the commissioner of police in the state. Nagogo, while receiving, said the protesters that the perpetrators will be arrested. He said, this is what the commissioner of police said, I can confidently assure you that the peace initiative by Governor Bello Matawale, which I led in the state, is working, as can be seen in the release of kidnapped victims and the repentance of several bandits. But that does not mean that the hardened criminals are no longer there. They are the ones that will perpetuate this. I am in constant contact with bandit groups in all the bushes, and our discussions have been positive, leading to the peace accord now that we are enjoying. Have you seen it? On this Jirawa issue, I have spoken with my contacts around the area, and the repentant bandits promised to meet tomorrow and fish out the perpetrators of the latest attack and hand the culprits over to me. This is in the spirit of partnership we are now enjoying. Police Commissioner, partnership with criminals and bandits. You are entering into partnership with them there, then in the southeast and the former eastern region, all the whole military armament, they are there for you. Now look at this. The mission, their mission. Let's find the truth. I'm reading. There's something I want to read to you. It says, let's find the truth about this information posted as copied. Translation of pamphlet issued in Arabic and distributed in selected mosques in northern Nigeria by Fulani Nationalist Movement. Dated November 6, 2018. And I'm quoting the report. It said, the battle is getting closer. We call on all true Muslims. This is the time to act. This is the time for the Second Holy War. We started it in 1804. The British stopped us. We must regain the territories lost. It is against Islam to rotate power with infidels. Forget about elections. That will only lead to sharing of power. Think of the kingdom that we shall rule forever. We can change the naughty history. We can change the naughty history Dutchman. Danfodio did it successfully. We can do it. We must take the enemies in the west, central, and the east by surprise. That is the plot. Dispose and occupy their streets, occupy their forests, occupy their schools, their markets, and art spies. You will suffer in this. Rain and shit will pour on you, but heaven will honor you after the inevitable battles. Our attack on the infidels must be total and overwhelming. We must begin by instilling fear on them, weakening their resolve through kidnaps, brutal raids, making it difficult for them to farm and subdue them before the war. Our strategy involves learning from the tactics of the past and match with the wisdom of the moment. There is no going back. Nigeria is our own. It was handed over to us by Allah. How then can we share what is ours? We must never fight a defensive war. We must take the battle to the homes of the infidels. We must use everything that we have. Whether you are a boy, a lady, a man, or a woman, all Muslims of Fulani origin must take this as a duty. We must sharpen our fighting weapons. Everything is a weapon. Your Okada, your knife, your hands, the trailers you drive, the tankers with fuel, food you sell, the houses of the infidels that you guide. Study well and wait for our order. Exploit the weaknesses of the infidels. They are lousy, lack discipline, sleep like fools, love parties and dances, lack disciplines, and mostly unarmed. With your vintage positions, you can take on a whole family of 10, conquer and kill them if need be. The battle must be fought in the homeland. The middle belt must be totally crushed. They are few and divided. Never trust anyone in the east or west, and not in the south. Not even their 50 Muslims who do everything a la religious. Get yourself prepared. The battle is near. This is what they have said for you. This is what they have said for you. Now it's very important we evaluate the pamphlet we just read, their action plan, what they planned against the people they call the infidel. Whether this is in tandem with the philosophy of Buhari's administration. It is very important. So we consider it through this news report that I'm going to read to you. It's a 287 repentant Boko Haram fighters to undergo rehabilitation. This is Punch of November 2, 2019. Now, look at the report. It says, no fewer than 287 former Boko Haram fighters had been admitted by the military into a rehabilitation program under Operation Safe Corridor being run by the Defense Headquarters, Abuja, in Gombe State. The Acting Director, Defense Information, Colonel Onyema Nwachukwu, confirmed this to our correspondent on Friday. He said other repentant terrorists would be joining the operation in 2 days' time. Nwachukwu said the operation also handed over 151 rehabilitated clients. I want you to know the word they use. Rehabilitated clients to the Borno State government for reintegration in July. That is his quote. He didn't call them bandits. He didn't call them terrorists. What did he call them? Clients. He said, according to the DHQ, the aim of the program, which began in September 2015, is to encourage willing and repentant Boko Haram terrorists to surrender and go through a structured de-radicalization process. The military spokesman told our correspondent that out of the 287 ex-fighters, 268, including 2 Chadians, had been transferred to their states for integration after completing the program. Nwachukwu said, and I'm quoting him, Operation Safe Corridor is an operation led by the DHQ. It is a non-kinetic multi-agency humanitarian operation designed to de-radicalize, rehabilitate, and reintegrate the repentant Boko Haram members. Since its inception in 2016, Operation Safe Corridor has admitted 287 combatants into the program, out of which 268, including 2 Chadians, had been successfully reintegrated into the program. Combatants reintegrated into the what program. On July 22, 2019, the operation also transferred 151 rehabilitated clients to the Borno State government for reintegration. Between September and October 2019, we hosted delegations from Cameroon and Chad to study the model of the program. In a couple of days, the program would commence again for the new interns. He said, for security reasons, he could not state specifically the number of repentant Boko Haram entrants joining in 2 days' time. Now, we have so far seen a lot of atrocities that these people have committed. And from the army themselves, from their headquarters, what did they call them? And their headquarters is a reflection of the thought of the president of the country. What do they call them? They say that these people are what? Their clients. And then we go back. What is the definition of client? One that is under the protection of another. That is dependent. That's the meaning of client. A person who engages the professional advice or service of another. What does Merriam Dictionary, Merriam-Webster Dictionary describe it as what? Customer. So what does it take? These people are customers of the federal government of Buhari. I'm telling you by the document that came from themselves, from the government themselves. Now, he said combatant. He used the word that they are combatants. What is the definition of combatant? According to these guidelines, combatants are defined as those who endanger their lives and have been trained to engage in combat and to harm the enemy in operational contact, that is, on the actual battlefield. So what does it translate to? If they are the customer of the federal government, or Buhari's federal government, then who is the enemy of Buhari? You don't need to be told that the enemy of Buhari are the place Buhari stationed all the armaments of Nigeria. That is the former Eastern region. Those are his enemies. The Biafrans and the Christians are his enemies. You have seen it. Now, crocodile, you see, where does he have crocodile smile? What is crocodile by definition? Crocodile is what? A large predatory semi-aquatic reptile with long jaws, long tails, short legs, and a horny textured skin, using submission and state to approach prey unseen. The crocodile has been extensively hunted for its what? Valuable skin. When you look at, where do you have crocodile smile? Where do you have python dance? So that is the actual enemy of the state. So Buhari's intention is not hidden. Now look at it. Look at it. What did they say? What did his other customers, herdsmen, what did they say? Any governor who wants peace in his state must give us land. Fulani herdsmen. That is what? Look at it. This is the Herald of November 3, 2019. Any governor who wants, we have grazing rules and grazing reserves, and if Nigeria wants to solve the herdsmen and farmers clashes once and for all, you are a governor and you want to enjoy peace in your state, you don't need any long meeting. Just create a particular area for the Fulani and equip them with modern amenities. Instead of doing this, they are playing bad politics with Fulani. Have you seen it? Since when the Ruga started, I am yet to see any, except the effort being made by the Zamfara state governor. No other governor is doing anything about it. It is still politics. Look at the support given to rice farmers through Anchor Borrower program. It is running into several billions of naira. And yet there is nothing for the Fulani business. Some people are saying cattle rearing is a private business. But the about 99% of the cows we are eating in this country are from the Fulani. So if you are the one that supply 99% of the cows we are eating, exclusive business of the Fulanis, you are seeing that all the herdsmen, 99% of the herdsmen we have in Nigeria are Fulanis. And they are responsible for the terrorism that are going on in Nigeria. Look at the boldness. Any governor who wants peace must give us what? Must give us Uruga. Give us a particular land for the Fulanis. Equip it with the state money. And that is Fulanis from all over the world that they said they don't have any boundary. Now look at it. The governor's reply. What did the governor say? What did the governor say? Governor replied, Mieti Allah, you can't force us to donate land to herdsmen. This is by Punch. It's the governors from the southwest, south-south, and southeast and the middle belt have vowed they will not donate land in their region for herdsmen settlement, despite the latest threat by herdsmen under the aegis of Mieti Allah Kaltaho. The national president of the herdsmen group, Alhaji Abdullahi Badejo, in a statement last weekend said governors who want peace in their state must establish herdsmen settlement. You are a governor and you want to enjoy peace in your state. You don't need any long meeting. Just create a particular area for the Fulani and equip them with modern facilities, Badejo has said. However, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in a swift reaction on Monday, said it was a mistake on the part of Mieti Allah Kaltaho to tie the existence of peace in the states of the Federation to the establishment of settlement for herdsmen. Are you surprised at what you are seeing? Now look at this report. Let me just show you, because I'm showing you that they are actually the customers of the federal government. It's a Plateau massacre. At last, STF arrests suspected Fulani headers with rifle. This is Daily Times of June 2018. Daily Times of June 28, 2018. It said the Special Military Task Force Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State on Wednesday paraded suspected 3 Fulani herdsmen arrested in connection with the latest killings in the state. The suspects were captured at Gashi District in the Bakenladi local government area of Plateau State with firearms, including 1 AK-47, 4 other rifles, and 3 locally made guns. The suspects were captured at Gashish district in the BVI, the local government area of Plateau State, with firearms, including one AK-47, 4 other rifles, and 3 locally made guns. The suspects were paraded in Jos alongside 14 others who were arrested over the killings in which suspected herdsmen massacred about 200 people, mainly locals and farmers, on June 24. The Daily Times reports that 11 villages in the BVI, the local government area, and its environs were affected in the onslaught, in which property worth billions of naira were destroyed. Parading the suspects, the STF commander, Major General Anthony Atolebwe, told reporters that the suspects were arrested clutching sophisticated rifles. Atolebwe said that the suspects were Fulani herdsmen who are currently at loggerheads with the natives over grazing rice. I want the world to know. I repeat it again. Parading the suspects, the STF commander, Major General Anthony Atolebwe, told reporters that the suspects were arrested clutching sophisticated rifles. Atolebwe said that the suspects were Fulani herdsmen who are currently at loggerheads with the natives over grazing rice. But the deadly activities of the suspected herdsmen have raised concern over the future of agriculture in North Central because of the penchant of the marauders to kill farmers. Analysts describe Benue, Taraba, and Nasarawa State, the hot base of the killings, as the food basket of Nigeria. The OPSH boss said that the suspects were arrested in the course of the attack, that they were arrested in the course of the attack. He said, and I'm quoting him, "We all know that some days back, some villages in BVI were attacked, and these 3 suspects were arrested in connection with that. As our men were repelling the attacks in those areas, we arrested the suspects with 4 rifles, 3 locally made guns, and 1 AK-47. That is, they were arrested in the course of their carrying out this heinous activity. The other 14 people were arrested in connection with civil unrest recently experienced in the state." Atolebwe said that the suspects were still being investigated and that more arrests would be made in due course. This man that did this gallant work, what happened? He was removed, he was demoted. They removed him from leading that Operation Save Heaven or whatever they call it. They removed him, they demoted him. Look at this report. It said, Plateau State Commandant OPSH, that's Operation Safe Haven, Major General Anthony Atolebwe, redeployed by Defense Headquarters. Did you see it? A man who arrested Fulani herdsmen. Look at Major General. What happened? Redeployed by Defense Headquarters. This is by the OASIS reporters of July 24, 2018. Quoting the news report. Since the confirmation that the Defense Headquarters has redeployed the Plateau State Commandant Joint Task Force, codenamed Operation Safe Haven, Major General Anthony Atolebwe, to the Defense Headquarters with immediate effect, palpable worry has shown on the faces of bilingual Plateau citizens facing onslaught from Fulani herdsmen militia. He is to resume work at the Defense Headquarters as Director of Campaign Planning. Major General Atolebwe is being replaced by Major General Augustine Chukwudi Ajindo. This was contained in a statement signed by Brigadier General John Agim, the Acting Director of Defense Information. I hope the world is seeing exactly what is happening in Nigeria. When this crime was committed, the first thing the federal government did was to ask for this case to be transferred from Abuja instead of the place where the crime was committed. And when the commandant refused and said that the people must be tried in Abuja, that they will be tried at the place that they committed the crime, what happened? And what did we hear? Major General Atolebo sacked for arresting Plateau State Fulani herdsmen. That is the comment of Femi Fani Kayode. He alleged that the man had been sacked because of what his gallant effort in what arresting Fulani herdsmen while they were carrying out their genocidal operation in Kano State. Look at how many people that were killed. I hope the world is listening and seeing the clear face of the sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria, which is as plain as a mark on somebody's palm, that we have a president who is a satisfied maniac, a mass murderer, using state power to massacre his people. A man that should be in a psychiatric hospital waiting for execution for his crime against humanity. That is the same man that is still on the seat of power, using state power to annihilate his people. I think the conscience of the world must be aroused so that this man regime ends now. Now, still look at it. Group flags redeployment of Atolebwe as OPSH commander. This is Guardian of July 26, 2018. A group under the aegis of Buhari, Tazaz, Vanguard, that is BTV, has fled the decision of the defense headquarters to redeploy Major General Anthony Atolebwe as commander of Operation Safe Haven. The group, while appealing to the headquarters to immediately rescind its decision on the redeployment, said any contrary view by the letter would give wrong impression that the arrest of some herdsmen in the state was the reason for Atolebwe's redeployment. Now let us read their remark. What exactly they said. The statement reads, "We are indeed shocked when we woke up to this reality. Citizens are thrown aback by the decision of the state of the defense headquarters to further dim our chance in 2019 by redeploying a focused military officer who was bent on restoring lasting peace to the North Central. This is not only sad, but very disheartening and does not project our great party and president fight against terrorism in good light. How do you redeploy an officer who has made far-reaching positive discoveries on the most chilling and hidden source of problems bedeviling the entire country? What is the reason for his redeployment? Why is the redeployment coming at the time that very critical arrests had been made and useful revelations made, including prominent people? Why is the deployment at the time the opposition and the section are maliciously accusing the presidency and the North for being behind these herdsmen? Till today, a man who executed with retroactive decree in 1985, Satanas for crime, for possession of cocaine. Now look at his romance. Look at his romance with terrorists. We are seeing, I hope the world is listening. In faraway America, in a town hall meeting on Friday, the 28th of October, 2016. Now look at it. The Vice President of Nigeria, Yemi Osibanjo, told United States-based Nigerians in Houston that 800 herdsmen are in custody. Look at his words. The President has given firm instruction to the security agencies to arrest not only herdsmen who are attacking communities anywhere in the country, but any one of them or anyone at all in possession of firearms. He further stated there are about 800 suspected violent herdsmen in the country that are currently in custody. But however, they decried the slow pace of the criminal justice system, which is affecting the prompt trial of such suspects. You see, look at it. Slow pace of the judicial system. That is what is preventing more than what? 800 herdsmen. Nothing is done about all these killings. The ones arrested for the killings in Taraba, Plateau, and Benue State, nothing was ever done about them till today. But look at it. In South Africa, police officer banned 30 years for killing a Nigerian. This is Punch of December 2019. A South African police constable, Austin Reynolds, was on Monday sentenced to 30 years in jail by a court for killing a Nigerian man living in that country. Reho, 24, was accused of killing Ebuka Emmanuel Okoli on January 19, 2018 in Durban, KwaZulu, Natal Province, South Africa. The court convicted the policeman 3 days after he was found guilty of shooting the victim at close range and robbing him during an unauthorized raid on a community where Okoli resided. 3 days after. Let's look at Nigeria. South Africa. Look at Nigeria. Not one single Boko Haram or what is it? Fulani herdsman had been shot for their crime that they have been committing against the innocent people of this country. Then what is the reward? Let me read something that will surprise people. Look at the compensation. That was what Obasanjo did with Bakassi. And that is what they collaborated to do with PE&G or whatever they call it. Through Bayo Ojo. Through Bayo Ojo or something, former Attorney General of Nigeria under Obasanjo. They were the people who conspired with the so-called contractor. And they lift up their country in what? Billions of dollars. Look at it. That is the same formula they are running here. Let me read this news report that will surprise you. Fulani community files suit, 650 billion compensation over killed cows. And this is important because at the end of the day, this money will be paid to them. This is Daily Independent, November 20, 2019. This is by Titilope Joseph. Now, Lagos, look at the report. The Fulani community in Plateau State has filed a, look at Plateau State, the same place they have massacred millions of people, thousands of people without any backlash from the government. Now look at it. It said the Fulani community in Plateau State has filed a secret suit before a federal high court judge demanding a total of 50,488,436,000 naira compensation over alleged killing of their cows in North Central. The suit, with number FHC/J/CS/11/2016, is ongoing and witnesses have been called in the matter. Joined as respondents in the suit are the federal government of Nigeria and the Attorney General of the Federation. The plaintiffs are Ado Ruwa Esau, Ado Abubakar Dankali, Suleiman Abubakar Jibril, and Emu Mohammed Ahmed, who filed on behalf of the Fulani community of Plateau State. According to the source who revealed this report, the case is ongoing and witnesses have been talking quietly, and judgment will soon be delivered without legal representation from the federal government. You see, no legal representation from the federal government as a loophole. They will now say because there is income, then they will award them. They will award them what they are requesting, and then Nigerian money will be used to pay murderers. Look at it. The report continues. Our source observed that the action, if allowed to continue without any defense from the respondent, will spell doom for the people of Plateau State, as the federal government would quickly pay the said sum to the Fulani community in the name of court judgment. I hope the word is listening. The Fulani community in Plateau State is seeking compensation over the loss of 550 Fulani men, women, and children, stealing or destruction of 15,116 heads of cattle, 8,207 sheep, and 3,427 houses. The source revealed that nobody from the government side had appeared to defend the case. The plaintiff, the Fulani community, is seeking the following relief from the court: a declaration that by virtue of Articles 1 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, ratified an Enforcement Act, the defendant, federal government of Nigeria, has the duty to protect the lives and property of its citizens, wherever they reside in the country. It also wants a declaration that the first defendant is derelict, negligent in the performance of its statutory duties, and which said the election had caused the loss of hundreds of lives and thousands of animals and houses of the Fulani community. The plaintiff are also seeking a court order compelling the defendant to pay to the plaintiff the sum of 30,488,436,000, being special damage compensation for loss of 550 Fulani men, women, and children, stealing or destruction of 15,116 heads of cattle, 8,207 sheep, and 3,427 houses. They also want an order compelling the defendant to pay the Fulani community in Plateau State the sum of 20 billion naira as an exemplary and aggravated damages. Where are they killed? Where is the proof? Nothing. But this is compensation that the government insinuated so that the Fulanis that are killing people all over Nigeria will be paid this huge sum of money. I hope the world is listening. Now look at it. We have been following a course of, index that will actually help us to know whether Buhari is innocent or whether he is behind the atrocities of the Fulani herdsmen of the Boko Haram. And I told you we are going to look at Buhari's actions and inactions. We are going to look at his own particular actions, what people said about him, and what he said about himself. Now look at this. Let us hear about the views of people. You know what they said about Buhari? They say Buhari may be behind Fulani herdsmen. Buhari may be behind Fulani herdsmen. This is by CNN Christian Amampo. This is by the Herald of July 29, 2018. This is a seasoned journalist. What did she say? CNN Chief International Correspondent Christian Amampo has opined that President Muhammadu Buhari may be behind the Fulani herdsmen menace currently ravaging the country. The British Iranian TV host said, and I'm quoting her, by all definition and description, Nigerian so-called herdsmen are terrorists. And if President Buhari doesn't believe so, then it will be difficult for anyone to reasonably absolve him, Buhari, from complicity. I cover wars and crises as a journalist. I think I know, and the world also knows, how terrorists operate. This is of world record. Now, rounding up. There's this news report I want to read. They say Nigeria and the Buhari agenda by Tola Adeniji. This is by this day of 25 July 2018. And I'm quoting the report. He said nobody should by now be in doubt about President Muhammadu Buhari's gory agenda for Nigeria. I wrote about this subject in a satiric article titled The Agenda by Tola Adeniji. We cannot pretend to be unconcerned when hundreds of thousands of our fellow countrymen, women, and children have been consigned to internally displaced persons cramped camp all over half of the country. And yet we pretend not to be at war. Let me profess that I used to be one of Buhari's most ardent fans. I was the founder of the Canada-based Global Intelligentsia for Buhari, with members drawn from Europe, Asia, Australia, and the Americas. I campaigned vigorously and canvassed funds for his ascendancy and wrote copiously to ensure his victory, but it hurts me to the marrow that innocent, by the blood of the innocent flows ceaselessly all over the country under his watch. Whatever achievement Buhari may have made cannot compensate for irreplaceable lives of the victims of pogrom. Today, I will only reproduce concerns published by other observers to buttress the fact that Nigeria faces extinction if Buhari's government is allowed to continue with its incredible device as conveyed by the president by the president's body language to annihilate certain Nigerians, destroy their means of livelihood, forcefully take over their land and give such lands to foreign terrorists and implant totally alien cultures to the occupied land. I will start with the highly respected CNN prodigy, Christian Amanpour. Hear her. By all definitions and descriptions, the Nigerian so-called herdsmen are terrorists, and if President Buhari doesn't believe so, then it would be difficult for anyone to reasonably absolve him, Buhari, from complicity. I cover wars and crisis as a journalist. I think I know, and the world also knows, how terrorists operate. The fact that herdsmen attacking pattern is focused primarily on wiping off farmers should rob Buhari, who has achieved only little in his economic agenda that is expected to be powered mainly by farmers. The impact of these well-defined attacks on Nigerian economy is expected to be grave, maybe on the long run, greater than that of Boko Haram, which has been largely localized to the northeast. Christian Amanpour, CNN. That is the end of her report. My next reference is the presidency itself, as quoted by Chief Femi Fanekayode. Now the quote, the Nigerian presidency, through presidential spokesman Femi Adesina, has told the Vanguard newspaper that giving land for ranching is better than death. He also said being alive is better than ancestral attachment to land. In other words, you must surrender your ancestral land to the Fulani or prepare to be slaughtered. You must give them their homes or they will take your life. You must give them their money and all that is dear to you, or they will butcher you and your family and take over that is yours. Surely only the Accords still support this evil government. Do we need any further evidence to prove that Buhari is not condoning the ethnic cleansing and genocide? This buttressed my conviction that the killings are not necessarily inspired by religion, but rather by messianic grace to grab people's land by force of arms and drive original owners into extinction. We follow this up with Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose, who in his Twitter asked Buhari 8 critical questions concerning the president's anti-campaign campaign. 1. I asked President, what has happened to the report of the $43 million discovered in an apartment at Osborne Towers, Ikoyi, Lagos? Now let me leave the other ones, the other of his questions and continue with the report. In terminating evidence in the unprecedented nepotism and the extreme I don't care parochialism exhibited by Buhari in his disguised military government masquerading as civilian, see the composition of the country's Security Council. Now let us look at the composition. Muhammadu Buhari, President. Mansur Mohammed Dan Ali, Minister of Defense. Abdurrahman Dambazu, Fulani, Minister of Internal Affairs. Lawal Daura, Fulani, Muslim, DG, SSS. Ibrahim Magu, under Muslim, Chairman EFCC. Tuko Buratai, under Muslim, Chief of Army Staff. Sadiq Abubakar, Muslim, Chief of Air Staff. Mohammed Saliu Osman, Muslim, Chief of Defense Staff. Ibrahim Idris, Muslim, Inspector General of Police. Most of them Fulanis. Attorney General, Babagana, Attorney General, Abubakar Malami, Attorney General, Fulani, Muslim. Babagana Mongulu, National Security Advisor, under Muslim. Ahmed Rapai Abubakar, DG, NIA, Muslim, under not a Muslim. In what language, then the question is, in what language will they communicate, please? Do they discuss Nigerian security or northern security? The answer is as plain as a mark on your palm. What they discuss is what their Fulani agenda. That's all. Look at the composition. An expanded meeting will have Abdullahi Gana Muhammadu, that is Civil Defense, under Muslim. Hamid Ali, Controller General of Custom, under Muslim. From the north, Mohammed Bolandede, another Muslim from the north, that is Controller General of Immigration. Ja Aparu Ahmed, Controller General of Prison. Notice, anything, all of them are what? From the north. Muslims and what? Mostly Fulanese. And witness the recklessness of a warmonger. All in a normal country should have been charged to court for terrorism. The so-called military Al-Qaeda, who has rejected court for sacking of service chiefs, apparently because the state service chiefs are acting out their script, and I quote Secretary General of the group, Mr. Saleh Al-Hassan, said this in an interview, Sunrise Daily, a channel television program on Monday. A large section of Nigerians, including National Assembly and governors, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to sack service chief for failing to protect lives of Nigerians. However, Hassan said those calling for the sack of service chiefs are corrupt politicians. Have you seen what they said? They are what? Corrupt politicians.